And we are back with our second episode of Intelligence Resource Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Good to see you, Brittany
George.
And I'm Samantha Viola Wilson. It's good to have your attention again. I think we should kind of start right back with where we left off. You promised everybody you would talk about AI and your therapy.
I thought maybe I could get out of that.
No.
So my husband and I have been together for quite some time. And, as all marriages do, we have our ups and we have our downs. We are both alphas, we get two alphas in who have very strong opinions and we like things our own way. And, we're really good about compromising on things, but every once in a while we need a second person to get involved and
mediate.
Yeah, exactly. And early on in our marriage, we had a couple things that we needed to talk to somebody about, and we were cheap about it, to be quite honest. We used whatever his corporate thing that they had. And we realized quickly that you get what you pay for when it comes to therapy. Then we started found someone, I think it was through you.
Yeah, I recommend.
It was one of your recommendations.
Yeah, it's the same. We did the same. Everyone needs therapy these days. I mean, geez, I was looking into facts recently. The amount of anxiety, PTSD, like all of that. Everyone needs to talk to somebody.
Yeah, especially when you have like a second person and it gets heightened when you have children. But yours wasn't as expensive, but yours was booked. And then, so the person that he referred us to, she was like $7.
That's
maybe
insane.
Like it was a lot of money. But she was great. But obviously we were cautious about how often we would use her. But also because she was so great, she was also booked out. So we'd have these things that we would just come to heads on and have this massive argument, but then we would make up like we always do. And then it would be some random Tuesday that we're back fighting again about the thing that we were...
Because your session was so much longer, further out.
And we're like, okay, now it's a Tuesday that we were just kissing before, or like we were making out before this session, and now we're back in a battle in the middle of the workday.
Right.
So, obviously we still kept using it, but it was a huge expense. It was bigger than the expense, I think, was the fact that we were kind of relitigating things that oftentimes we weren't really in the midst of. So one day we had a battle and we just were not agreeing. And I just went into it and I talked to ChatGPT. I put the voice note on. I'm like, this is it, my perspective, and had him lay out his perspective. And then we also said, give us an unbiased, because that was like an important prompt. Just give us an unbiased opinion. And this was at like 11 o'clock at night. Right.
So it's real time.
It's real time. So
That's
we're
great.
just like, instead of having to go bed, a lot of people have a theory, don't go to bed angry. Sometimes I disagree with that sometimes. But with this instance, we were just, probably not going to fall asleep because we were so frustrated. It was about children. When you get your children involved in about a parenting debate, of how you're going to raise your kids, it feels so large. But when chat came back, it was like a very interesting way because it rephrased what he was trying to say in a way that I understood it. And for the same for him of revocalize, like, hey, we were able to settle the argument immediately.
Right.
Immediately. So instead of, waiting 2 weeks, spending $700, here we are, we were able to see each other's perspectives, come to a mutual compromise on it. And it's interesting because with our business, it's one of the things that we said is when we put together our operating agreement was if we can't come to terms on something.
Oh, right. Yeah. Don't go to mediation or arbitration. You go to chat.
AI has to settle.
AI.
So for us, if we have something like a creative idea that maybe the other one's not so leaning into, if it's this,
we've already done it multiple times. Let's be honest. not if we've already been like, actually, this is part of the debate. I'm going to let you guys in on this. We're doing live in person right now, but we also want to show what an actual avatar, can look like, but also help us be able to do multiple things and provide more content, whether it's courses or just Instagram reels. And I'm saying, I don't think that all the avatars will look exactly like us. And I'm saying we should have our main, two people, or then there's other fights of like, oh no, we need to be real. And so we go back and forth, but real, but also looks like us, but it's agents. So anyway, we use AI to come up with these different, solutions, which I think is great. It's unbiased. And I also like the fact that people like talking, right? When you talk things out, it helps your brain understand things, right? And also same with writing, right? So you could do both with Dr. Chat, as I would call him, or her. I don't know what it is.
Mine's definitely a female.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, you can talk to Dr. Chat, either, just like a voice note, and then you can kind of get everything out, right? So it is still talk therapy, or it's writing therapy too. So I think that's really good, especially for people. Like, it's so expensive. And one of the things is like, what is how accessible are these tools for people, right? Therapists are expensive. Yes, there's a lot of, and we sell it too, right? Whether it's through PEO or another vendor that's offering different telehealth and medical, like mental health and such. But this is actually something that's going to be so much like less expensive. Like, and I'm using ChatGPT, but obviously there's so many other platforms. But for instance, ChatGPT, you can pay, either have it on the free model or do for $20 a month. And that's doing multiple things plus also your therapy. So I think that's really cool.
No, I mean, one of the things when you talk about ChatGPT and talking to it, I love the feature that you can actually have a full-on conversation when you're driving. So one of the things, I love podcasts and listening to podcasts constantly, but I notice I'm doing a little bit less podcasting because I'm just brainstorming in the car. So these long drives, today we came to Orlando to do this, and I came from Odessa. So the whole drive over, I'm just...
Don't tell people where you live. I'm kidding.
I'm driving the whole time and talking to... and talking to the app, going through everything of, this is my ideas. What should I do? And this is coming up. What do you think about this? So you can literally brainstorm with it and have a full-on conversation. So you don't unnecessarily have to be tethered to reading and writing, because everybody learns differently. But
yeah, don't text and drive.
I mean, I do have my car driving me from point. I drive a Cybertruck, so it's a little bit safer.
She's all into it. She's all tech.
I will share a story, which I don't know if Elon Musk will love this. I actually cheated the system, and after having an argument with my husband about him saying that he was going to take a nap, because he likes to play jokes on me, told me he was going to take a nap while driving, and I told him if he took a nap while driving the Cybertruck, I would cancel the auto drive. And then the next day, I'm driving down to Miami. I'm super exhausted. I put on the glasses and I just nodded off. And
also the glasses.
You have to have glasses on, because otherwise it's going to buzz at you the whole time. So I had on like pitch glasses. And I don't know how it didn't register, because I sleep with my mouth open. I'm certain my mouth was just wide. That should be like, Elon, don't take it away. But I got a nice little 20-minute nap in. And then when you talk about it, the thing that blows my mind is when people today say, AI can't replace me. They can't do what I do. I hear this a lot. One of my friends, it has a very niche job. He works on specific planes, and he is very well needed for this specific type of plane. He's like one of the few people that could do it. He thinks AI can't replace him. And I just think that gives me giggles, because here we are, we have surgery happening with AI robots.
For years. My friend sells a medical device that does spine surgery. It's not the doctors. And actually I'm getting an implant, and it's a robot that's doing it. So
yeah, and I drive. Like, to me, those are the two most dangerous things that can be done.
Yeah.
And they're being done with AI. So when someone tells me that AI can't replace them, I think that that's just a dangerous thing to think, that it can't replace you. I think you got to think about all the ways that it could, and just get ahead of it and get really good at using it, so that you can be an asset in this new economy, because it's going to be a really new economy.
Absolutely. And actually, we talked about this last episode about our kids being in the beta generation, and they're going to have multiple jobs, and they're going to be they're going to be learning a lot more. So they're going to be living longer because of AI technology too. So that kind of brings me to your fountain. Tell them.
Yeah, so
what you used to do.
So I worked at a company, a Fountain Health, which was really on the innovative side of things, and they were doing really cool things with, for example, getting a CCTA scan of your heart and be able to use AI to tell you the difference between the calcified versus non-calcified plaque within your heart. And they're doing all these things where they can look at your brain, and they can do a scan and tell you different things about your brain. Just a lot of cool things that they could do with health. And it's changing constantly. Even though a doctor goes to school, for 8 years and obviously knows how to read this, it's impossible No human can do that
Right.
and stay on top of building a medical practice and doing all the things that they have to do with being a doctor, and maybe even just live their own lives. So it's just unrealistic to assume that any doctor could do that. Even the best doctors in the world could not possibly do that, but AI can.
Right.
So Peter Diamandis wrote or had a podcast recently. He said that it will be medical malpractice for doctors to not use AI within their practice, because if you think about it, now you have an ability to have all of these medical journals available at your fingertips. So when something odd happens, like what you'll talk about, which what's happening with you, you can have something to benchmark it against. So
Right.
I think where doctors used to say things like, oh, did you Google that? Or, ahead of time, I think that the days of that are gone, where you
Dr.
can
Webb.
it's not a bad thing anymore to
Right.
say that, you can look something up. So good or bad, I think that we're going to see that the medical world is going to change significantly.
Absolutely.
But talk about what happened with you and in your eye.
Yeah. Well, so because of you, I actually started going into more functional health, because what you had told me is there's all this new advancement, right? They can detect cancer at stage 0, and that the insurance companies won't cover it for years, right? But it's available for people to pay out of pocket. So this was
Like Grail tests, yeah.
Yeah, so this is what the rich and famous are able to do. And I was like, all right, well, before I got pregnant, I was like, let me go and get blood work done. And I had done a full panel that tested more than the average, right? And I had a doctor at that time kind of gaslight me. And she said, oh, what kind of doctor did you go to? Why are you doing all these tests? It's just going to give you anxiety, which I get, right? I don't want to be one of those people that thinks there's something wrong with me all the time. But I think it's very important to test everything. That way you can detect things at stage 0, or like potentially have immune system disorder, right?
Have a baseline. That's what one of my
Yes.
old colleagues always said.
Absolutely. And so at that time I told her, oh, well, my functional doctor had done this. And she said, do me a favor and get yourself a real doctor. Now, I know. Now, fast forward, was it 3 years ago? I'm still kind of having this weird issue with my eye. No one could really find out what's happening. I went to an eye doctor and he goes, oh, did you ask Dr. Chat? And look, it's like now it's okay to go to Dr. Chat. Then I'm also now like, because of that blood work, I'm also now starting my peptide journey, which, I want to be as proactive as possible. And I think this is also why when looking at like the beta generation, they're going to live longer because all of these advancements, which again is because of technology. And when I share with the guy, I was like, listen, I did go on to Claude already. I uploaded all my blood work and this is what he said. He goes, I'm not going to be mad at you doing that. And he's like, I think that makes total sense. He ended up giving me a lot of the same things that Claude had told me that is suggested for peptides for me. He added a couple other things like precursor pills or things to take before then taking certain supplements, just so that it has a better reaction. But it's such a different tune from 4 years ago to now. And I think that this is huge. I mean, when I was in wealth management, I was researching CRISPR. I think the name is Illumina. I remember the tickers more than the names, but they were talking about DNA sequencing, and all this is technology. So I think that this is where AI is going to be so beneficial for people.
Did you hear about there was a court case that just came out this week? I didn't read the full story, so forgive me that this is going to be one of those things where I just read the headline. But I did see that ChatGPT is being sued because of a recommendation of mixing some form of drug. So a teenager died, I think, from doing that. So we're going to see more of that. Recommendations are going to come out. So I think that just like anything, you have to be careful. Even when you go see a doctor, right? You can't just take everything that they say. You should always get, they say, a second opinion. But the same thing, I think, with putting your stuff in. But with Function, so everybody always likes to confuse Fountain Health, where I worked, with Function Health, which is a new company. Mark Hyman is the leader of that. He's big in the longevity space, but he has Function Health, which I'm using today for my blood work. And that wasn't around when I was at Fountain, but it's really cool because it's an app. You get your blood work done, and it actually uses AI to read the blood work. And it was I've now gone 3 times and seen, the differences, and it's able to show me, where my hormone levels are, things that most blood work doesn't test, but keeping a tracker of it and then using AI against it. So I've been having this crazy itching and I can't even nail it down. Well, come to find out, I have a toxic level of selenium.
This is your nuts, right?
Yes, and so Brazil nuts, I had no idea. I grew up eating Brazil nuts. My nanny used to have them, and I recently just bought them, and I didn't know you're supposed to only eat like one or two, and I was eating like 10 of them on top of this like very, multivitamin that's like maximum levels of everything. So compare those two things combined, I was over my limits, which could have been a very scary thing over long term. But thankfully, I caught this in the blood work that I had way too much selenium. So now Brittany's not allowed to have Brazil nuts anymore. Brazil nuts are off limits.
Yeah.
But yeah, Function Health is really cool because it has its own little AI chat feature within it. And, it recommends to go see a doctor for certain things. And, when it flags certain things, but for this particular thing, it just said, lay off the Brazil nuts, which is really simple. And Claude, I haven't used it yet, has an integration with Function.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's interesting. I don't know how it'll work. I'd like to test it out, but for right now, it already has the AI feature. So I'm curious what advancements we'll have by doing integration with Claude. But you see things like this coming. Claude's integrated with a lot of cool tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about our Whoop? You got your Whoop on, right?
Yeah.
I live with this thing. It has a great AI feature too. And again, I put my lab work in there too. It's the awareness of every day. So it's like, okay, the benchmarking of your blood work and then also your day-to-day activities. So I think this is such an excellent way that AI is helping us today.
Yeah, the really cool thing, you use the Whoop coach in the morning, tells you like how to do, based off of like what you're doing, your activities. It gives you a little bit of a tip about how to go about your day with your Whoop coach.
Yeah. What about the biological age too? That I'm kind of obsessed with. I'm like, I don't want to be 36.
I prefer my biological age on my Function at blood work because I'm in my 20s on my Function blood work, but I'm
going to come at you.
I'm in my 30s, 34 on my Whoop strap. So, but I'm 28 on my blood work.
That's really good.
So my Whoop strap, I'm just going to tell myself that it's having an error.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because I don't know where these numbers come from. So that'd be something we could dig into and kind of figure out a little bit more.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I remember I had actually done something one time, because I'm going to all these like Miami tech events, and I met this guy who actually was helping people heal their brain waves using like understanding what the brain waves were and then creating AI music to actually help the neural pathways reconnect itself. And it can help you with MS, dementia, Alzheimer's, even just like regular PTSD. And again, like a form of therapy too. But again, $500 a session. So it's like, this is way too expensive in it. And this is where I feel like this is going to help the masses of people that can't afford all of these really expensive tools and things like I did the Pronovo scan too, right? That was $2,500. I did a payment plan with a firm, so it was zero interest for a certain period of time. But like everyone should have access to this.
I mean, I think there's a lot too where you see you go to a regular doctor and you're in and out. You spend the most of the time in the waiting room. These doctors, they don't respect everyone else's time. You seem to be sitting there for hours. Sometimes my Deneen was actually at a doctor's appointment recently, and she said she was waiting for 2 hours for a doctor. I mean, it's just absurd for people to be waiting for hours for a doctor's appointment. And then you get in, and it's a 7-minute visit before you're out, and they're just giving you a prescription for the symptom. So I think that's where you're going to see people want to maximize their time. Like you can go, Quest is so efficient. You're in and out. They nail the time when you go into Quest. So you get your Quest lab work, it's filtering into an app, and you're able to sit there and talk with it. Because if it hadn't been for me chatting with the app, you think I would have been sitting with a doctor and they would have discussed with me how my Brazil nut intake? Yeah. No, it was like going through certain ways of how that could happen.
Right.
And talking through it, I'm confident that if I gone to my doctor, I wouldn't have discovered that.
Right.
And I would have continued to just I would have been sitting here through this entire meeting or podcast scratching my head.
Well, that is, again, now how I think. Like you said, it's going to revolutionize so many different industries. And that could be something that now they're going to, like regular doctors, they have all this competition with the functional health, the biohacking becoming more of a trend. They could be so much more efficient, right? People are going to, when the demand, right, is there, then it's going to happen. There's going to be a shift.
I would want to go to a doctor who was using this versus a doctor who was gaslighting you and saying, oh, I can't believe you're using this or you're doing your own research. I want a doctor who is going to partner with me because I'm a vital piece of the medical equation.
Correct.
Who's going to say, I'm glad you've done some research. Let's talk through this. And in being the like we say, the human in the loop, the doctor in the loop.
Right.
The one that can digest all the information that's coming out and make a recommendation versus the one that's completely opposed to not using it at all.
Right. But also let's think about this. Like, and I'm trying to think for the people that don't have enough time or money to go to multiple doctors or access to the doctors. Think about people like, I know with my husband's family, he had a family member's cousin that was flying from the Caribbean up to Florida to go and get a second opinion from doctors. Like, okay, no, Dr. Claude, Dr. Chat, whatever, they are their second opinion right away. Yeah, so I think that's
the
Mercer going to be big.
Mercer and Kaiser reports, we're seeing that family healthcare is going to be between, depending on which report you're following, between $26,000 and $30,000. People are going to find healthcare to be unaffordable at this point. So when you start to see that you can lean in to these apps, I think you're going to start to see more and more people dropping off and people starting to lean on other things where they can.
Right.
Obviously, if you're battling cancer, you have a major disease and illness, you're still going to want to go to regular doctors and you're still going to want to use insurance. But I think that we're going to see a lot more people relying on AI for health as healthcare continues to rise.
Right. And I also rely on it as a mother too, right? Like, oh, I don't want to go to urgent care or there's an emergency. And I'm like, I know this is probably just this, and this, or it's a little rash, maybe caused by a fever or whatever. I take pictures. I've taken pictures of my daughter's diaper and been like, what is this? It's, you know what I mean? Like they tell you like different colors, whatever it may be. And I upload it and they're like, okay, it could be X, Y, and Z, but really, what has she eaten? Then they ask me the additional questions that a doctor would have. And so like when my mom was, a cardiothoracic nurse, so she's always like, go to the doctor, Reddit, go to doctor, and very much prescribe, because that was the old methodology. And now it's like, no, Mom, I don't need to. I took a photo of the rash. I uploaded it. It gave me all the things and nothing that is like an emergency where I need to go to the hospital where actually she could potentially even get more sick and pick up something else or also not get sleep. And really, she probably just needs sleep and it'll come out of her system.
Well, it's interesting. Remember the weekend? I don't know if Serafina had a...
yes.
She had hand, foot, and mouth one weekend. And the same weekend that she had she lives in Miami, I live in Odessa, so we're very far away from each other. But she says that her daughter has hand, foot, and mouth. And the same weekend, my son breaks out in a rash. So I uploaded a picture because I panicked and was like, could she get this through the phone?
Oh my God.
Because it's just crazy. Like with
viruses aren't that...
Miami and Odessa aren't that far. If it's breaking out down there, it's possible. But, at the end of the day, I started panicking because he had it, but he was just playing in an ant bed. But I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for ChatGPT with the rash. It clarified that I need to relax. It's not hand, foot, and mouth.
It's amazing. I love it. Especially, I don't have my mom around or family, so it is, you know what I mean? Like,
it is. I mean, it's definitely nice, but you have to parse through it. And I think that for me, I'm a little bit more on the crunchy. I lean crunchy. I don't want to say I'm anti-medicine because I sell health insurance. I definitely see the need and the use and all the great things that medicine provides. I'm not anti-doctor wholly. But I think that there is an overuse of doctors, and that's my own personal opinion. Everyone can take their own. But the way that I've prompted AI, and I say chat because chat's just the first one. It's not the only one that we use, but this is the one that I feel most comfortable with because it knows me the best. I've been using it the longest. So I think that
you have a project that says family wellness, all that kind of stuff. So it has a history already.
It has a lot more. I haven't really migrated. I've migrated a lot of my business things everywhere else, but chat's kind of where I sit with a lot of the health stuff.
Another way that I also used AI when it comes to health is like, you're talking about being a crunchy mom, what's clean, what's not clean product, but also, like medicines, right? Like I'm saying, okay, which one is available here, and here? It's, I don't know, like, especially with the whole Tylenol thing that came out, like what else can I give my child that's okay? What's a natural kind of remedy? And frankly, like when child is only like 6 months old, they really can't even use that kind of stuff. Like, so
no, so what I was trying just to lead into is that I've prompted chat on exactly, for me, always lead with other alternatives, not just to jump to Tylenol. Don't just jump to something else. What are the alternatives that I can do that are organic? And the thing that I learned, so I took Tylenol while pregnant because my doctor recommended it with Hazley, not with my son. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, I did take Tylenol. I can't go back. But now since learning more, having better information, I don't use Tylenol anymore. So I've only used it for myself now that I'm not pregnant. Chat for a more natural recommendation. And it told me peppermint oil. And I sat there that one day with the worst migraine. I never used to get migraines, but I'm getting them since having my son. And I'm getting the worst migraine. And I'm like, what do I do? Caved, took Tylenol. And then the next day, the headache came back. And I was like, screw it. I'll just try this peppermint oil. I could not believe how well peppermint oil works for knocking out a headache. I mean, it was just like blew my mind. I'm like, wait a second, why isn't everybody using peppermint oil? And I assume that different headaches and different migraines feel different for different people, and it probably doesn't solve all of them. But for me, I'm talking that I went through a full day of taking Tylenol every whatever the recommendation was, and it was still dull. Like it took the headache from like a 9 to a 4. The peppermint oil took it to a 2. And its peppermint oil was instant. I had to wait around for anything. So I'm just saying, like, I think that there's these little cool things that people don't really think about or know about. And if that's your leaning, if you're the person, you're going to prompt your AI to say, give me all the Tylenol, because that's your vibe, then do it. But for me, I want it to be crunchy. I want to do the organic thing first. Typically wouldn't want to take Tylenol, though I just assumed peppermint oil was just kind of ludicrous to work. It doesn't seem like this magic oil to work, but it does.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the same with vaccines and stats and anything, and like, you know what I mean? All these different types of like cancer treatments and everything else. People just have so much more of a better sense that they can research them themselves and not just be blindsided by, okay, like, I have this one disease and this is all I can do. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, people are dealing with some of like major health issues. I mean, we've got a really sick country. So I think that's when you're unhealthy, you want to have more access to more information. I think the days are gone of just relying on just one doctor,
right? Yeah.
And not getting a second opinion.
Well, health is wealth, so it's very, very important. And AI, again, like I said, is giving that to people that can't afford to go to the doctor, to take time off of work, to pay for therapy, to pay for all the different things. This is such a transformative thing for, with AI.
A huge family value of mine is cooking for my family. I live a crazy life, and I feel like I'm not always getting to be the mother that some of my friends are, who are stay-at-home moms, and they're able to be there all the time and show up for all the things. So it is important to me that I show up for dinner for my family, and I actually really do enjoy cooking and having that little break. But doing all the planning and leading up to cooking is just so hard. Remembering just taking the meat out. How do people remember to take the meat out?
My husband texts me all the time. Babe, take the meat out. Anything out for dinner?
No, I need to get my AI agent to send me an alert every day. Like, take the meat.
There you go.
There we go. I came up with a new idea. But here we are. It builds out an agent. But just being able, last night, I was sitting there. I had to just go with what I had. And I just talked to ChatGPT. I walked around my kitchen and was like, this is what I have.
That's so cool.
Give me a recipe. You don't have to include everything in the recipe, but these are the things I have. Give me something. And my dinner was fantastic last night. It was like a chicken rigatoni. Oh my God. My husband was so impressed. He was like, I love this. I was like, Chat, it's a great chef that comes up with the best recipes.
I love it. I think I created a prompt. I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure there's a prompt for meal prepping for families, because I'm pretty sure there's like a certain questionnaire that says, okay, food allergies, how many people are you serving for, and everything.
Yeah.
And you've done that in Claude, right? It was Claude?
No, yes, Claude is where I have that.
Yeah. So I think that's actually something that's really cool for people to be able to manage it all. Because again, we're trying to multitask, efficiency, and then also still be that crunchy mom, giving the healthy foods and being there on time for people and everything like that. So it could actually help you with your grocery list, etc. So I think that is if you're very transformative for the working family, parents. Everyone's working these days. So
if you're dealing with, you're diabetic, or you have some kind of challenge, and you just don't know how to cook this new way, I think it's really easy to plug that in and say, for example, this is the store I go to. This is my weekly budget.
Right.
And they can actually do integrations with, Chat has one with Instacart that can tell actual prices. So you can know, hey, this is my budget. Look at the prices and tell me, like, where can I go make a recipe? I only have 20 minutes. So like, gone are the excuses behind, I can't do this because I can't afford it. I can't do this because I don't know how to cook. I mean, you can literally go into any AI, not just Chat, and explain who you are, what you like. For me, I don't eat pork. You can say things like that. And the limitations, my doctor said I need to cut back carbs. My doctor says I got to eat X grams, because all that's super complicated. And it can really solve the Rubik's Cube of how to cook dinner. Mm-hmm. I mean, because at the end of the day, cooking dinner is an important piece. And then this is a very opinionated statement. I think we all need to get back to the days of cooking dinner. I mean, with our families.
Right. Yeah. I think, it depends on everybody's situation for sure. Like you said, it's opinionated. I agree. I like to do it too. Right. But you never know, different working hours, etc. But It does. It's when you set yourself up, right? You're setting yourself up not to fail. So it really, like, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to reduce, your diabetes, just have better home cooked meals for your family, like more togetherness. It's like AI is actually truly helping you be more present in a way with that, but also, stay on track with everything else. So I think that's very, very powerful. We covered a lot of good things. Therapy, the futures of essentially healthcare. And then also the cooking, the food, everything like that, like how you can really strategize your meal preps.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we go. We never stay on topic.
I know.
I don't think we covered anything, by the way, that's on these cards. So
That's
these
fine.
are just for luck.
These are boring anyway. I'm kidding.
Well, thank you guys for staying or for listening in, and we will hope to bring you more, and we will be bringing you more exciting things on the podcast.
You don't want to mention anything because you don't want to have to be a listen.
Yeah, we're not doing any cliffhangers this time about my therapy.
It's going to be good, though. It's going to be good. And I'm going to also make sure that we put in a link to the meal prep. That way you have that free prompt. So thanks for tuning in. See you then. Bye.